2 thumbs up already. We've only just come in, which is fantastic. So I really appreciate that. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank again Ross for coming on tonight, for spending a couple of hours of his time to help us answer any questions that you might have, whether it's about your cars, you know, your minis, A series, whatever it is, or about what Ross does as a business. So he's here to help and obviously spread some knowledge, which is fantastic. So as always, you haven't been on for a little while, Ross. So what's been going on since the last time you was here?
Dare I use the phrase same old, same old?
more more minis.
More minis and some metros as well.
Oh, even better. Yeah, something different. Metros, fantastic.
Yeah, we've had a couple of metros come through the door. We had one recently that we did one of our Thomas tune-ups on.
Yeah,
So there's a video, hopefully should land tomorrow on that on our channel.
yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, very much the same. If I'm honest, we're going into our busy time now. Not that we've really had much quiet time.
Wow.
But you know, we're going into winter now, which is generally the period where everyone's got their cars off the road. They want their work doing this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
We got full restoration books anyway,
So
already ready for the winter. So yeah,
that's
busy,
interesting.
but all good.
You're busy in the winter, whereas I get less busy with tuning, but more busy with your work.
Yeah, exactly right. That is, yeah.
So we've got lots of people coming online tonight. So we've got Space End says hi, ACDodd. Eduardo says hi from Bolivia. Tony Harmer says hi from Sicily. Evening, Tony. Enjoy your holiday. Darren Robert Shaw. Evening, all. What else we got here? Yeah, Space End said hi. Yeah. Peter Holmes. Hi, all. I'm ready for class. Hopefully, it's not that formal.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, we don't want that formal. Eduardo says I own a 1976 Mini Leyland. Darren's Restoration. So hi, Darren. He says hi. Oh dear, we got loads coming in. Good evening, guys. From FBA, Ian Moore. Evening, chaps. 1380 Flip. Evening. Jerry Stevens. Evening, all. Evening. We got 26 online already, and they're all jumping in and saying hi, which is fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah. So as ever, being as you're already in, give us a like, get that thumbs up, click that button, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, been busy for you, and obviously you're looking to get busier as you batten down the hatches for the winter and do all the longer term restoration projects,
Yeah.
which is excellent.
Yeah, we're coming to the end now of a few fairly large restoration projects. And obviously we've already sort of started some of our winter ones in readiness. We've got a couple of things on the go at the moment at the paint shop and this, that, and the other. So yeah, lots going on, which is great. But at the minute we're trying to get sort of it never happens, but as much as I say it, we're trying to get ahead of the game. So, you know, we've got cars.
It's a nice plan.
Yeah. And you know, we're doing all right. You know, we've got what we got 8 fully built subframes sat down in the storage workshop at a minute,
Wow.
front and rear.
Wow.
All ready to go underneath cars and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's really good, really busy, very, very repetitive. I mean, we had this conversation recently. You know, kind of with the YouTube channel, I struggle with putting videos out there that are repetitive.
Yeah.
So, you know, and lots of our work is very repetitive.
Yep.
Ball joints, subframes, you know, this, that, and the other. But we do have a series planned of a restoration.
Oh, superb.
So that's going to be, you know, quite long and involved, and it'll probably involve me waffling on and this, that, and the other. But yeah, we've got something planned to show a restoration, or, you know, maybe not all of it complete from start to finish, but certainly a lot of what's involved, because I think a lot of people out there don't realize what goes into, you know, a full and proper restoration.
Yeah. a lot of people don't realise what goes into all sorts of jobs, I must admit.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
it's very interesting you talk about like repetitive, because I was just talking about I haven't really done a lot on Facebook recently. Well, it's because it's just primary gears, flywheels, and carburetors.
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
just keep doing it. So there's only so much that people will want to look at. You show them another carb and another primary gear, it's like, yay, more of the same.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I must admit, YouTube content for me is easy because it's tuning,
yeah,
and every car's different. So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
that that's the main sort of thrust of my YouTube, because it's easy. So I only have to fit other stuff in between that, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, of
But yeah,
course.
I do feel your pain when you got the same stuff. It's like, okay, there's only so much footage you can get out of that, or there's only so much Facebook updates you can get out of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know. Yeah, on the flip side of that, we tend to get a little bit of grief along the way. Then of, oh well, why are you always pointing out problems? It's like, well, because it's a new problem, so let's stick it out there.
Yeah, you're pointing out problems because that's what the job is,
You come across them.
solving problems. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 very much so. But yeah,
Abs-
no, all good, all good. What about with you, mate? How's things getting on with you?
Oh, onwards and upwards. So more things have been happening. So what have we got now? I've had a very strong thing with SU over in the last couple of months. So one of which is this, which is the new HS4 SU. So
Right. Okay.
I have the first pre-production one. So this is it. Um, Empty box, this one. So the actual carburetor's on my bench because I've been going through it today. So this is said carburetor.
Okay.
So what we're doing, because obviously this is it's obviously an ACDodd carb, but what it will come with, obviously, other than just the carb, it comes the same as the other one. So it comes with a fuel filter. It'll also come with, because you can see there's no throttle linkage, but it will come in a packet with it.
Right.
You also get a piece of hose for the overflow, the right amount of gaskets, and the choke nipple like you do with the HI-44. All
Right.
right.
Okay. So it's a full comprehensive kit.
It's a full comprehensive kit. Some people might be asking, why should I buy this one and not a normal one? Well, this one's got all the bits on it that I would have on my usual fast road ones that I'd sell when I'm out tuning. So again, the reason for doing these is because it's not cost effective for people in different countries to send exchanges back and all this kind of thing. So it's just easier to ship out a new one. So
Yeah.
what we've basically got here is the usual. So it's got stay up float in there. It hasn't got the large bore needle valve because it doesn't need it. It's obviously this is a smaller engine, so it's got the standard needle valve in there. It does have a wax jet because I like the wax jet because it can control fueling with temperature, which is fantastic. It has ported
Yeah.
vacuum, same as the HI-44. It's got a plain butterfly, as all my rebuilds feature. It's also got comes with a red spring and an AAE needle, as my rebuilds do, and it also comes with a new hybrid damper.
Okay.
All right. So basically, it's the same spec as you could get off of me, but actually you can buy you will be able to buy it anyway. So this will be available in about 4 to 6 weeks. The other thing about this particular carb is, I've got it here actually. Sometimes these carbs come with the old idler screws
Right.
with the spring on the outside. Don't like that. So this one comes with the HIF type with the O-ring around the outside, so it's got that nice feel, and it
Right.
won't trap water in there and get rusty and seize up. That's the idea. So little subtle mods there. This one is a straight SU HS4. There's no shaft seals on the spindle.
Right.
As people will know, as you are, because you're testing one for me, I've
Yeah.
got a design for the shaft seals. I will probably bring that online for people who want that on carburetors in the future. And maybe if you buy a zero tolerance one of these off of me, I'll do those modifications. But it's still out testing at the moment.
Yeah.
As I say, this is the first one off. There are a few issues with it, so I'm going to go back to SU this week, and there's no massive issues with it other than just want to change a few part numbers on the build sheet is all.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're all good to go. So should be available in about 4 to 6 weeks. Again, from Mini Spares or direct from Berlin, which is fantastic. The other thing that I've been doing, and I've finalised it. Well, I am finalising it right now. Is I spoke to SU today and put an order in for a new needle to be made. So this is for the stage 1 kit 998s. All right.
All right. Okay.
So this needle is basically, there's no such thing as a needle off the shelf that will work. All right, for every application. But what this is kind of what I'm seeing on average. Yeah. So this is kind of a needle that should be in the mix. All right. So on some cars it might be a bit rich, on other cars it might be a bit lean, that kind of thing. But it should be a lot better than anything else that's provided in a stage 1 kit. So I'm also, chatting with Mini Spares about obviously upgrading their kit to put the needle in, and also try and get them to include a new spring. So it comes with a spring, a new red spring, and a needle. So you put it all in and it all works. That's the idea. All right. But I've got to get the needles made, and we'll go from there. But things are moving on.
Good stuff.
Which is good, and that'll help everybody. So again, people think I make money. I don't make money out of any of that, right? So this is all me just providing stuff for the mini fraternity to make their lives easier and keep these cars on the road. Yes, I'll get some money from doing tune-ups and things like that, but I don't get any money out of selling needles, or off of Berlin or any of that business. The whole point of this is to keep everything going and to keep people like you with stuff on the shelves that makes your life easier. That's basically what it's all about.
Good stuff.
We are moving through. So there's lots of people in there now. So we've got 60. Wow, look at that, 60 already. That's fantastic.
Excellent.
So just go for a few people we've got there. Right. So Bernard Boucheru says hi. Simon Brackey says good evening, guys.
Evening, Simon. Evening, all.
Mod Scotsman, evening all. What's new? Hopefully, I've been telling you. And so's Ross. Rachel says hi all. Nicholas Roy, hi guys. Mod Scotsman, you should do product reviews. I've seen plenty of differences on parts, especially out of CVs and drive flange fitment. Yeah, well, maybe we should. Maybe if companies want to send us some bits and pieces to review, maybe not sending me a drive flange, but maybe sending it to Ross because he fits them, right? So somebody like Ross would go, yeah, this is great, or it don't even fit, mate. This is junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem that I have with that is 95% of my stuff comes from Mini Spares.
Okay.
So,
well, maybe Mini Spares want to, if they want to get some bits out, like new parts and stuff like that, or they just want to review stuff, maybe you can do that for them.
Yeah. And in fairness, the guys at Mini Spares, they do send me new stuff that they're having done or made. We've trialed a couple of subframes for them. We trialed their new radius arms.
That's a new clutch kit they want to bring online.
Good stuff.
Say any more about that?
And that's what it's all about, and that's where I find Mini Spares very good, in so much as they don't just generally stick stuff out there for sale.
That's right. They do a little bit. They at least do a little bit of. Is this actually any good?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. They can't do it with everything, and you don't expect them to do it with, a rubber bush or this, that, and the other. But if there's anything major that's involved tooling or casting or tooling up for, they're really, really good like that. But
okay, so Mick Machenko, good evening, guys, and hello from Canada. Yeah, we got people from all over the world tonight, Ross, doing really well.
Good stuff.
We're now at 63. That's the most I've ever had online at any one point. So we're obviously going places.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Darren's Restorations, for the viewers, it would be nice to hear a brief explanation of the different butterfly designs and their use when we're talking about the carburetor. Yes, okay. I'll tell you what, I'll do a brief one now if you don't mind me doing that, Ross.
No, you carry on.
So obviously, people heard me talk about a plain butterfly. Well, that's basically as it shows there. It's plain. There's no holes in it. There's nothing. It's just a flat, plain disc. So you also get a drilled version with a little vent hole at the bottom, and that's basically to just keep some airflow. You know, when the butterfly's closed. Also there to change the position of the butterfly if you've got if you need that butterfly further closed, like if you've got this hole. Okay, so it can be used as a calibration orifice, but generally speaking, it's kind of an overrun to keep air flowing through the carb. That's generally what it's for. When you close when the engine's on high speed and you close the throttle, that little hole will provide a certain amount of flow through the carburetor at all times. That's the idea, and that cleans up some of the emissions on overrun. Then obviously you get the other type, which I haven't got with me, but it's got the spring-loaded valve in it, the overrun valve, and that's effectively the same thing, but just bigger, and it's able to be closed and opened, so it just gets more airflow, but only in high vacuum situations. That's what that's for. All right, they can be troublesome, those, and that's why people get rid of them, because on old carbs the spring collapses and then opens too soon. So on certain applications you'll find that you can't get the idle down because the valve's open. So you know that they can be problematic, but they're used on engines that really need a lot of airflow. So on the overrun, so typically if you've got like a 2-litre engine, you need one of those on overrun so you can keep air flowing through the carb, and then you also need to keep the piston from falling too quickly because then that leans out the mix and cleans up the fuel. That's the idea.
Will you get them on something like sort of the Maestros and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely found on the bigger engine cars. Some Metros had them as well, but the point is it's generally an overrun thing. I only worry about overrun when it goes too rich. So every time if you close the throttle and it's going 0.8 lambda every time you close the throttle, you've got a problem, because you're just washing the rings on your engine when you don't need to. So that's when calibration needs to be done on the carburetor when the throttle's closed. But that's the only time I worry about closed throttle fueling, is when it's going too rich. Too lean's not normally a problem because the engine is being driven along by the car, so to speak. So it doesn't really matter if the fuel goes away. But going too rich doesn't help the engine's life. Okay, which one is better? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Eduardo. Bring us another question. He says, ES1 or Red 1? I think that's what you mean. So just clarify the question you're asking. Darren says, yay, wax stack. Darren loves a wax stack. Wax stack jets, yep. So all my carbs will feature that. And I think at some point I'm even going to try and build an HS2 with the wax stack on it just to see how that responds. But there's problems with that, but we'll see if we can overcome them. Blaze Runner, hi all. Phil Huggett, evening gents. Oh, it's worth saying that Phil Huggett's going to be a future tuner. So he's currently built himself a distributor machine. So he's going to come online, I think, certainly in the next probably 3 or 4 months. He's going to do the distributor training. So there'll be someone else that can do dizzies, because I can't curve them all. I've only got one pair of hands, and I've been mostly curving dizzies all week. So, it will be great to have Phil there doing that, which is fantastic. Rich Weston, hi from Devon. Darren's Restoration, many thanks to AC for continuing to develop the SU carb and keeping SU on their toes. I try, Darren, I try. But equally, I have to say thanks very much to SU for actually bothering to listen to me, right? Because equally, they could go, Aid, you're annoying us, go away, right? But they humour me, and they listen to all my silly requests, and they try and do their best to help me, which is fantastic. So without that support, I couldn't do any of this. So the reality is, don't thank me, thank SU for actually bothering to listen to me and try and help out, which is fantastic. So I couldn't do it without them.
I wonder if they get any similar sort of feedback like yourself from any other marks. So whether there's, Jag specialists, MG specialists, and that sort of
Um,
thing.
I do know that I do believe that they have, and I can't remember where it is, but I think it's in America somewhere. There is a guy that has his own SUs built, has his own spec SUs for Rolls Royces.
Ah, right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
some high end stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that I believe is the only people that get SUs made or have them to their spec.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky that we actually get this service, because SU could go, you're just pissing us off and slowing us down, right? And no firms like that. But these guys are interested and they want to help out. And I am increasing their sales. It's not like hundreds of thousands of carburetors,
No.
but it
No.
is definitely an increase in sales.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's a good thing. And obviously, Mini Spares have said that they're selling the carbs, which is fantastic. So hence bring another one online, which is why which is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And eventually I'll have twins as well. But the point is, right now I'm just slowly get everything where it needs to be and available for people to help people out. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Pierre Gill, hi from Bristol, with an 88 Metro. Oh, we've got some Metro people in tonight. Fantastic. Started to attract more people. We've got 71 online. We've only got 27 likes, though. Come on, hit that like. 71 people watching. All go and push that like button now. Thank you very much. Costs you nothing, but it helps me. It helps me generate income. So thank you very much for doing that. Okay, so Eduardo, electrics high quality parts are hard to find. Yes, but you have to know what to buy, and it depends what electrics that you want to buy. If it's ignition components, I have the same problem, because I have to go out and tune loads of cars, and if I didn't find the right components, I'll have loads of people moaning that their cars are stopped, and that doesn't happen, because I've found people that will sell me parts that at least work at sensible money, which is fantastic. So it is a minefield if you're not in the know, so to speak. But I seem to have found a way of making it work for certainly ignition components, which Ross can back me up on, because he does very similar, and you don't have problems with Power Spark, for example.
No.
The stuff works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can probably count on one hand in 11 years that we've been going that we've had a failure.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but again, I think we've had this conversation before. You need to remember that things like that, even though it's an electronic module, to a certain degree, they're still a serviceable item. So you can't expect them to last forever, just like you wouldn't expect points and condenser to last forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing about, so even Power Spark, they're selling a Dizzy for what, 75, 80 quid for electronic Dizzy, right?
Yeah.
You don't get much for 75 or 80 quid nowadays. It's
No.
bloody amazing that they can actually make and sell these things for that price. Sort of 20 or 30 years ago, if you wanted a Dizzy from Lucas, it was like 300 or 400 quid, right?
Mhm.
So, if somebody said to me the other, oh, we should be making these in this country, I say, would you pay £900 for a Dizzy? And they said, no. I said,
Yeah.
you wouldn't make one in this country then. That's what it would cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? So, people are quite quick to go, oh, we should be doing this in this country. It's like, you wouldn't pay for it. That's the problem. That's what it comes down to. So yes, it would be nice, but the reality is we still enjoy reasonably priced parts for our hobby, which is fantastic. But the difficulty now is knowing which bits are good and which bits aren't. So we've all heard stories about ball joints and wheel bearings and all that sort of stuff, and ignition coils and ignition modules and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, all problematic. But you just have to, ask people and find out what works. I've found out that the Power Spark stuff works for me, does everything I should do. However, if you run wrong spark plug gaps, for example, on the wrong coil, that coil won't last because it doesn't have the insulation of an older one. All right.
Yeah.
So just because I recommend it, if you use it wrong, it will fail. So I've definitely had issues with coils in the past failing. And I'm talking about one or two, right, in the entire time I've been doing on the road. And one of those was a genuine failure, right, which I couldn't attribute to anything else other than the coil died. And the other one was the spark plug gaps were wrong. Yeah. So change the spark plug gaps, put another coil of the same type back on it, and everything's been good ever since. So all I'm saying is you have to use these things correctly, and we don't need to go on about spark plug gapping, do we, Ross? Because
no, we don't.
No one does that, right? I'm still seeing it now. So I'll put out videos before I go to car shows. You know, gap your plugs, save me doing it. 95% of people turn up, haven't got a bloody clue, right? Haven't got a absolute Scooby that they need to gap a spark plug.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the biggest things that any of you lot can do is gap plugs. Right. You know, seriously, gap your plugs. There's videos on it. Darren's done videos on it. I did one in the last video. I think I did. It was just show, or it was at the Isle of Wight, showing people how to gap a spark plug. Purely because I just took the opportunity to do it because I was there. But yeah, I don't know what we got to do to get people to actually do things, because that's what makes cars run properly, is people doing things, and then moving on from that, doing things correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, Rich Weston, where's the best place to buy a quality fuel pump for a 1275? Well, there's two questions there. We'll just assume that you're after either electric one or a mechanical one. So I'll let Ross answer the electric one because he has to fit these all the time and he knows all about this. So away you go, Ross.
If you're converting to electronic fuel pump, we use the two versions we use. It's either the Facet Posi-Flow, which is a small plastic encased unit. If it's a hot engine or something like that, the Facet box or the Facet cylinder, fine, with a regulator. The Facet Posi-Flow one is only rated at 1.5 psi, so you can get away with no regulator with that, but it has a good gallons per hour. Mechanical one, exactly the same. Go to Mini Spares, buy a genuine SU Mini Spares pump.
Yeah, you know, the one that's really expensive, that's the one you want to buy.
That's the one you need.
Not one that's under 30 quid, all right,
No.
or under 50 quid. No, spend 140 quid or whatever they are. So I would also add, even with a mechanical pump, you need to be running a regulator to get the absolute best out of the system, all right, to keep that fuel pressure under control. So any application you have, apart from the one that Ross just mentioned there, he said one of those electric pumps can use without a regulator. My personal view is I would use a regulator on any setup, but there are some pumps, and the one he's just mentioned is okay to use, but you must match your pressure to the carburetor type you're using. So if you're using a HS type, it's literally no more than 1.5 psi. Okay, so this type of carb, 1.5 pounds per square inch or less. Okay, typically aim for 1.25, 1.3, something like that. And then a HIF type, you probably want 2.5 psi, so 2.5, maybe 3. That's the range, right? If you've got one that's got the larger bore needle valve in the float chamber, actually you don't need as much pressure. All right. So 2 to 2.5 is probably fine with a bigger hole in it, because you'll get more fuel through there anyway.
Yeah.
So just remember that having a fuel pressure regulator will help you with fuel control and stop wasting it as well when you go over bumps and all these kind of things. So you will notice, the best fuel economy will come when you've got a regulator on your system.
Yeah.
Okay. TM McLaughlin, hi AC and Ross. Have you any training courses planned? I do, but for obviously customers, because they're one-on-one training. So if you're interested in any kind of training, TM, then send me a message on Facebook Messenger, and we'll have a chat about what you're interested in. Hit and miss. Hi team, are you able to explain the carburetor noise? I have an HS6 on the warm 1330 road engine, and notice when under full acceleration it kind of gurgles, raspy. Okay, yeah, they do that. All right, it's the induction pulses. However, because I can't hear via the medium of the internet what yours sounds like and how loud it is, that could also indicate a tuning issue, right? If the carb's gasping because the fueling's not right or the timing's wrong, it will affect that induction noise. So having the engine tuned properly will always reduce that to a minimum. Okay, you won't ever get rid of it, but if it's excessively loud, it can be annoying. But it's also, as I say, an indication that the engine is not tuned properly. Okay, what else we got? Rudy Doody, they recognise innovating. Yeah, so talking about SU, they recognise innovating that old is necessary. Absolutely. Bree, hi both. What's your thoughts on using the water heated intake manifold? Should they be used or not on the likes of a Tune 1275? Well, my view is yes. So plumb it into the heater circuit. I don't know what Ross does, but I've had to go out. I've had to deal with a customer's issue where he was complaining after we tuned the car that it wasn't running so nice in the cold weather. So after listening to what his description was, I said, plumb in the manifold. Anyway, he did. And about a week later, he said, it's fine now.
Yeah.
So that cured poor running in the cold weather. So what, the important thing to understand, people forget this, your fuel will not turn into a vapor without heat in the manifold. Okay, so if you're just putting cold air through that manifold, it gets colder. So it actually needs energy to convert the wet fuel into a vapor. All right, so that's why you need heat. Now, what will basically happen is if your car runs badly, you will run more choke. If you run more choke, it costs more to run that engine. You're also putting more fuel through the engine, which is bad for the rings over a period of time. So an engine, this is an extreme example, but an engine that's got a water heated inlet manifold tuned correctly with a high output ignition coil, low ohm coil on it, will actually last longer, right, than one that's got a 3 ohm coil and no heating in the manifold. It's as simple as that, purely because you can put less fuel through it. Basics. So if you want a long-lived road engine, tune it properly, high energy ignition, and put water through your inlet manifold. There, if you want a tip for this evening, that will save you lots. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Nicholas Roy, AC, in one of your last tuning videos, you tuned the 1380 stage 3, the one with the 40 dizzy, and decides to go for BP 7s. Why? I thought it was too much 7. Not on a hot 1380. So if you actually look on that video, I think you'll find the plug's nice and white after a drive as well, and that's because that particular owner gets on it, right? So he's using the power, putting heat into it. That 1380's got a lot of cylinder pressure. It's creating a lot of heat in that cylinder every time there's an explosion because your foot's down. All right. So plugs are one of those things that is personal to the driver, right? So certain engines may use them. So maybe if we gave that 1380 to a little old lady who never goes above 3,000 revs and drives it down to the shops, set of 6s in there will be fine, right? Because it's never going to get the heat to damage them. And if you had 7s, it will probably have issues because the plugs wouldn't get hot enough and they would load up, right? And they would foul over a period of time and cause misfires. So what I tell people with these cars is I will put the higher plug in, but what they must do is keep an eye on them. And if they start loading up, then obviously they're either not driving it hard enough for that plug, and then we can make a recommendation to change the plug. Because I don't always say to people that you need a 6. Maybe I'll say you need a Champion N10, right? Or an NY, because an N10 and an N9, okay, kind of split the range, right? So they're much finer, all right? So Champion, you can, you can be more, what's the word? You can be more fine in your adjustment of or selection of the right heat range. So the important thing to understand is you need to read the plugs. That's why heat range is important, because if you don't get them hot enough, they will load up and you'll have misfires. So no, that 1380 was driven hard, and I checked the plugs afterwards, and they were white. The guy was driving it hard enough to keep them clean. If he sits in traffic, I told him they will probably load up, but he would then need to get on it and drive it hard to get them clean. All right. That's what it's all about. So certain drivers drive like that all the time, no problem. Other drivers don't. And it's the problem comes is when you get a driver that sometimes drives hard and then most of the time doesn't. Right. Yeah. And then the plugs load up, and then and then there's an issue. So sometimes finding the right plug for a road application can be a bit tricky. All right. But most of the time, the NGK BP7s, they will load up in traffic, but once you get on it, they'll clean up and they'll be fine. But it's all about personal driving, the way your engine's set up, compression ratio, all the other stuff. So it's not a perfect answer, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah, there is no hard and fast rule. There's only a guideline, and then you've got to read the situation, decide how you're using it, and then make a decision from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Shanks WRC. Hi guys, one question. Can you point out some probable causes for a stock HIF 38 going too lean on very light throttle, like between idle and part throttle? Once the ported vacuum gets in, it's fine. I think we know what that issue is, don't we? So that would be called tipping. All right. So that's the moment you've got lost motion on the damper. So if it's going too lean, you really need to reduce the lost motion on the damper. Okay. So probably halving it. So I don't know if I've got a damper here handy. I have in this new Carb. Hang on, I'll just take this out. So you might be thinking, what the hell's he talking about, lost motion? You know all about this, didn't you, Ross? Because
yes, I do.
This problem, didn't you?
Yeah. We covered this on my training, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Yep. And I believe you had a car afterwards as well, didn't you? Just that issue, yeah.
Yeah.
So lost motion on the damper is literally that. Okay. So if you have more lost motion, so you increase the movement, it leans out. If you want to reduce that initial, just as you touch the throttle and it goes lean, you need to reduce that. Okay. And that can be done by making new ones of these or shims. Okay. It's very difficult to shim because you block oil flow. All right. So it's not quite as straightforward as just sticking a washer on it. That ruins it. So sometimes you need to make custom ones of these to get the tip in where you want. All right. I can't really explain it any more than that, because you need to measure it and you need to understand and you need to play with it to be able to sort that out. But that's typically what the issue is. Now, if it goes slightly further into the rev range, as you put your foot down a bit more and it's still lean, it can also be not enough oil and not enough thickness, not enough viscosity in the dashpot. But I think what you're describing is the tipping, which is lost motion.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Robert Shaw. Anyone that doesn't know, the like feature is found by clicking the 3 dots on the top right hand corner. Thank you very much. That's helping me no end. I've got 43 likes, so give me a few more. We're up to 77 people. That's fantastic. So well done. I'll put that down to Ross being here. So he's a popular man.
You can take all the credit for that.
He brings Rent a Crowd with him. Fantastic. Oh dear. Right. Matthew Steele. Hi Matthew. Good evening, guys. Yeah, no problem. Josh, good evening. What lambda do you look for during acceleration? In the high 8s or low 9s? What is too rich? Thanks and all the best. Okay. Interesting question. So I'll give you two answers. Right. Hard acceleration with your foot buried on the mat. You want probably on a road car 0.88 to 0.85, something like that. Yeah. On a dyno, it would be whatever the fuel mixture is to give you the absolute maximum power. Okay, and that's the absolute maximum power through the acceleration, not just the peak figure. It's all the way up. So certain engines and certain specifications would have a slightly different figure depending on how it's burning, but in that range is fine. Now, if you're just cruising along the road and you put your foot down on the throttle for about an inch just to move on, and you got a road car, you don't need that much fuel.
No.
Right. So keep it in the nines. Yeah, so 0.9, something like that, 0.9, low nines. So not like 0.99, something like that.
Yeah.
Typically 0.95, 93, maybe 9, just a little bit leaner. A road car is lean. If it's a race car, it'll be whatever the figure is to get maximum power every time you move the throttle, right? So if it's 0.88, that's fine. If it's 0.83, that's fine. Whatever that figure is. A race car needs to produce maximum effort anytime you move the throttle. That's a different tune to a road car. All right. A road car is all about the shekels in your pocket, right, and the longevity of the engine. So you only want to put fuel, maximum power fueling through a road car when you want maximum power. Okay. So when that foot's hard down, that's when the fueling is on like sluice gates. All right. At any other time, it's nice and lean, as long as you're not misfiring. Would you agree with that, Ross?
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely spot on. I mean, the guys out of the rolling road as well, they say the same. Generally, they aim for sort of 0.85, 0.88 if they're tuning a Miglia.
Yeah.
As a mean average.
Yeah.
And then they will monitor it, whether it wants a little bit more and whether it
Yeah.
actually makes a difference.
Yes. So they'll actually put in what it actually needs to make that engine actually perform at its best.
Yeah. And they're all different.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So John Rudolph. Okay. Hand delivered my carbs to Darren. Got the tour. Impressed with the work and shaft bushing fit. He seems to have a mini problem though. Hoarding is a disease. You heard it there first, Darren. Excellent. Well, it's also nice to know that, from a customer's point of view, you like Darren's work, which is fantastic. That's what it's all about. Okay, so Eduardo, I own my Mini 15 years. 15 years has oil leak, even after overhaul. Always crankshaft front seal, 998 half seal. Right. I've tried put the seal lip out and in, but always leaks back for 15 years. Okay, so all I can suggest there is you've got a misalignment. So you need to look at the half moon shape in the gearbox. Okay, and the way to do that is to sit the engine on the gearbox without the timing back plate on, so you can actually see the gap. And I have seen them where they can be a good couple of millimeters offset. All right, that's never going to seal. So if you got that scenario, it can be a problem. So check that gap, and then obviously you need to make sure that a seal actually goes in and gets pinched in. And you also need to make sure that sometimes the seals supplied in the kits are too long. All right, and they pucker up when they go in. So sometimes you need to cut them slightly. And it was back in my day when we was building, I used to cut, I think it was about 60, nearly 80 thou off the 2 mil, 1.5 to 2 mil off the end of one of the legs of the seal, because when you push it in, it would pucker because it was too long. All right, so we just had to trim them down a little bit. So don't, a lot of people take stuff out of a packet and blindly fit it and then wonder why shit doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you haven't checked that it's right. That's the problem. Never ever fit a part out of a packet unless you know it fits. So that means trial fitting it and looking at it and see if it's loose and all this sort of thing. So a lot of seals leak because they don't fit properly and they have to be trimmed in order to work properly. And I'm sure Ross finds, I don't know what the latest seals are because you're now building engines currently, and I've stopped about 7 years ago. So
yeah, I mean, we haven't had any issues for a long time like that. We did come across that. I won't say regularly, but we did come across a couple where the U seal was formed. There were some sort of flaws in the actual rubber molding.
Yeah.
And we had a couple that we pulled out that were leaking, and we could only put it down to that sort of small flaw,
Yeah.
allowing it to leak past. At that point, we swapped over to using the solid version, which are still available. They're a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But I haven't used those now for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe more.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the latest. Yeah. And what you use mini spares gaskets?
Mini spares, yeah.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you. But you've really got to check everything and make sure that the thing lines up and the seal fits properly. And then obviously, when I used to fit them, I used to use sealant on them as well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, small bit, only a little bit, just a small smear of it
A
either side of
smear
it.
is the right word. Yeah, it's a smear rather than great big gobs of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Some bloke. Only exception to a heated manifold running LPG CNG. Else heated manifold is a winner. Yeah. So some bloke runs LPG CNG gas in his car. So I would bow to his knowledge because I've never tried. I've run cars with LPG, but I've not tried compressed natural gas. So I would be asking him if I was wanting to do that. So yeah, thanks for that information regarding heating the manifold. Harvey Drake, hi ACDodd, just bought a pair of original twin HS2 Austin Cooper carbs that I'm going to do a full rebuild. Have you previously or in the future do a video part by part on rebuilding them correctly? No, I haven't. So am I going to? It's the time. That's what, it's not straightforward to do the carbs because I'd have to because I have a carb man that helps me do the carburetors so I can keep up, and he's 9 miles away. So it's not a 5-minute job just to go over there and do some video. It'll have to be planned and all the rest of it. So I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying it's not going to happen just yet. All right. So that might happen in the future, but certainly not right now. But I do value your input and appreciate the fact that you would like a video like that. So I'll see what I can do in the future.
I think I think there's a couple of videos on your channel about sort of rebushing and refacing manifold faces and stuff like that, isn't there?
Yes, there are, and I've done. I think there's Facebook ones about setting them up on the bench and all this before you fit them on the engine. But there isn't a video per se about like we're going to take a set of carbs,
a full rebuild.
So there is some video footage out there on my channel about carbs, but not the whole lot, if that makes sense. Dave Osborne, evening gents. I have a mini base special that is running a positive earth electronics 25D dizzy. Is it possible to run a high power ignition module for a positive earth, or do I need to convert to negative earth? I was looking at this last week. Now, up on PowerSpark's website, they don't list a high power one, I believe. Okay, they only list the conventional power positive earth. So what that basically means is a 1.4 ohm coil is the highest energy that you can run on that system. Okay. So I'm not sure if they're ever going to change that. I wouldn't have thought they would because the market for it's tiny. So the reality is if you change to a negative earth system, then you can run that no problem, because as you've probably seen in my videos, I've done at least 2 of these in the last month. So with dynamos running those systems, and yes, they work fine. Okay, Neil Basford, SPI tuning. Any specifics to investigate? Over to you, Ross.
The world's your oyster. It depends on how far you want to go and what you want to do to it. You can start exactly the same as a carburetor car. So stage 1 kit, a decent exhaust system, air filter. The biggest thing that I always find affects an SPI is a good service. So ignition, overhaul, plugs, leads. Again,
sorry, did you say plugs?
Check it's got the correct coil on it as well. And the big thing, vacuum hoses. Make sure they are in good order. They affect things massively on an SPI. If you've got all of those bases covered, then obviously your next step realistically is decent cylinder head. It
Yeah.
does release a fair amount from them.
Yeah. There are limits that you can go to, because you run out of ECU, the ability of the ECU to change the fueling and all the rest of it. So my advice to people at SPI is keep the modifications fairly basic. So don't go try and turn this thing to a race car, because it ain't going to do it.
No.
And if you really want a cooking mini, then buy a carburetor version. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it, really. Yes, you can have a mildly modified SPI, and I know a few that run quite well, but you're talking low 80s horsepower for sensible running. All right. You're not talking sort of 90, 95 and all this, not without ripping it all out and changing the ECU for a completely standalone system and spending loads of money, and then you've got to pay for mapping and all the, don't do that.
Yeah. And then you would be miles away from a standard SPI to make the best benefit of that anyway.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Some blokes just come out. My heated manifold has a solenoid valve to cut water when running gas versus petrol. Big difference. There you go. So he's got a control that he can just switch it on and off, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Martin Haslam. Hi, AC and Ross. I came down to Ross on the training day. Car is still running fine. Think I know the answer. If I take the head off and recondition the valves all standard, I believe that would affect the tune. It could do, absolutely. So, but you're thinking along the right lines, because doing that work will improve the seal in the engine, will improve the performance potential. But there's no harm in doing that work and then just bugging it back in with Ross for him to check that everything is either good or it needs a slight tweak. All right. So, in reality, that's the lie of the land. It could need a tweak. All right.
Yeah. I think the other thing to mention there as well, and I don't know whether you sort of say to your customers, Aid, when you go out on your mobile tuning, is that it's not a case of tune them and forget about it. They do need to be revisited, and sometimes, just as Martin said there, if he's got in his head he's going to do a bit of a decoke and that sort of thing and lap the valves in and so on and so forth, it's always a good idea to just check the state of the tune after anything like that.
Absolutely. That what you have to understand is, if you set the tune up on a carburetor car, the carburetor is only delivering what it's been told to by you, the tuner, to that engine. So if you then change something on that engine, like the air filter, right, that carburetor is only going to dumbly try and do what it did before, right? But if there's more air passing, and it's not able to pull off more fuel, then that mixture ratio is going to change. Okay. So if you change the exhaust on the engine, and you've got a freer flowing one, the flow dynamics through the engine change, and you might find that you need more fuel. So I've seen this before. Someone's had the exhaust change. I come around and checked it and was like, oh, why have we got 1.2 lambda now? It wasn't that lean when I did it last time. Engine's breathing better, right? Put more fuel in, customer drives it. Wow, this is miles better. Yeah. Well, now, because you've changed the exhaust, the engine's performing better, and now we've had to re-establish the right fueling, and away it goes. So I always tell customers, do not call me out, right, if you're planning on further modifications, because you're going to spend a lot of money to get me to come to you. And then you'll have to spend all that money again to get me to come back out and redo it. So you only want me once, right? To get, this is against the business plan, right? So my business plan is I'll come to you as many times as I can, right? Clearly, right? But the reality is, you need to plan. You don't want the car tuned frequently. You only want the car tuned when it needs it. So if you're doing any modifications, do all the modifications, then get it tuned. Okay. And then people say to me, oh, how often does it need tuning? I'll always tell them the same answer. You'll know when it needs tuning, because it won't go like it's going now. And at that point, you can go, I need to do some work, right? Now, some owners do their own work. And when they do their own work, they make it worse, because they're not necessarily realizing what they're doing. And I had one a little while ago where the guy tried to do it himself, and he went down the right path, but he didn't gap the plugs, and one or two little things wasn't quite, didn't get the points properly, so the timing changed, so the whole thing started to go slower because he was trying to do the right thing, and he didn't really understand the benefit of using a dwell meter and all this kind of stuff. So all I'm saying is, maintenance is key, all right? But generally speaking, I can't tell you how often it needs tuning, because that's related to how often you use the car, what it's doing, how many miles, all this sort of business, the sort of use it's going for.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, Ross has nailed it really. Once you tune a car, if you want to maintain it, it needs maintaining. So set of leads every year. They're only what, 16 quid, service item leads. If you use the car every day all year, 2 sets of plugs a year, right? This is what we're talking about. If you're not using it, I always tell people, put a new set of spark plugs in at the beginning of the year, drive it all year, put it away in the winter. Next year comes out, get the car out, put a new set of plugs in it, and bloody gap them when you put them in properly. All right. So, the reality of keeping your car maintained is to actually do the maintenance and actually fit new parts. Right. I have people coming, they talk about cleaning their spark plugs. No, don't bother. Take the things out, chuck them in the bin, put a new set in. Right.
Yeah.
The reality is those spark plugs are only ever good on the first day they were put in. Right. They degrade from that time on. All right.
Instantly.
Yeah. So the more you use the car, the more they degrade, and eventually, it won't run as good as it did when they were put in, and you will notice that on fuel consumption, things like that, and power. So I did a test years ago. I think I did 5,000 miles on a set of BP6s, and it was costing me 2 horsepower on a 69 horsepower engine after 5,000 miles. I did nothing else other than take the plugs out, put a new set in, gap to 25,000, and it got me 2 horsepower back. Simple, right?
Yeah.
No fueling changes, nothing. Just change the spark plugs. Boom, done. 5,000 miles, knackered, right?
Yeah.
Now, at 3,000 miles, they probably would have been nearly 2 horsepower at that point as well, right? So all I'm saying is plugs are like sweets. Just buy loads of them, right? I'm telling owners, right, go out and buy 2-pack, 20 spark plugs, 2 packs from Mini Spares, chuck them on the shelf.
Yeah.
Anytime you come out to do some maintenance on your car, if you haven't changed them for a while, just put a new set of plugs in it. It will be better. Right?
Yeah.
You'll notice it straight away, because you'll go to start it and she'll fire straight up, and you think, oh, that's better. Yeah, it was telling you that the old plugs weren't right. So the new ones, sharp. Keep the engine sharp and crisp. That's what it's all about. I know it sounds bonkers, but modern cars have iridium plugs for a reason, and that's because they stay sharp and the engine runs better with them for longer periods of time. That's why you need a more expensive plug with exotic materials in it. Now, I am going to be working on an iridium version for a conventional ignition Mini, but we're talking 100 quid for a set of plugs and leads, right? This isn't but you won't need to change them every year. This is the idea, right?
Yeah.
But again, this is not for everybody. So for most people who just want cheap parts, just buy 20 plugs, chuck them on the shelf, and use them as and when. All right.
Yeah.
You won't go wrong, and the car will run better, start better, and do everything better. All right. Ross knows this because he fits new plugs in engines and sees the difference all the time.
I mean, realistically, when you weigh up the pros and cons, and let's say you over service your car. I don't believe there's any such thing as over servicing, but you give it an oil and filter change, you check the tappets, ignition service, set of leads, set of plugs, go through it every year. If you're a DIYer, it's probably going to cost you no more than 100 quid in parts. 100 quid for an annual service, to me, is a bargain.
Yeah.
And like AC says, just to have it on the button, start. And the other thing I say all the time about servicing is it's eyes. You're looking, you'll notice things. Actually, my rocker cover seals are looking a bit manky.
Yeah.
I've had the rocker cover off. I'll put a new set of seals on there. They're 60p. But it might stop an oil leak further down the line.
Yeah.
So it's all about having eyes on these cars. they are so far detached from modern cars that
Yeah.
we are used to. That's what you need.
The other one I find is when I go to people is a lot of them don't have any spares on the shelf.
Yes.
They've
Yeah.
got nothing, right? You know, if you have a Mini on the shelf in your garage at home, you should have spark plugs, set of leads. You should have a vacuum pipe with elbows.
Yeah.
You should have a selection of Jubilee clips. You know, all
Rocker
these
cover
sort of
gasket,
things.
rocker cover
Rocker cover
seal.
gasket, yeah, all these basic stuff. You should have that on your shelf because you've got a car that's going to need that, right? And if
Yeah.
you want to use that car, it may need that, and you can't wait for the parts, so you've got to have it on the shelf. Yeah. So that's why I say to people, really, if you've got a classic car, you should be out, and you also need the tools as well, right? I was only talking to someone today, and I said, look, you really need to get yourself a compression tester and a few other basic tools so that you can maintain your cars yourself. The problem is although Ross is very nice and very good at what he does, if you use Ross for everything, it's very expensive, right?
It's going to cost you money.
But it's going to cost you money. So there's a lot of preventive maintenance that you can do yourselves. And really, if you want a car that's cost effective to run, you need to look after it yourself. But you need to be educated so you know what to do, and you need to learn that you need the right tools and you need to understand how to use them. All right, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, obviously you'll draw a line at maybe you won't take you rebuild your own gearbox and things like that. But the point is, certainly changing a set of spark plugs and leads should be something that every Mini owner should be able to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the noughties. In one of Darren's recent videos, he changed a set of HT leads because the resistance was too low. I think he may have commented that it would have been spec for an injection type of car. Okay, so injection car, you will need resistance in the system so that you don't have so much electrical interference. All right. So what he's done there, I think I remember the video, is he had a fuel injected car and it only had about 900 or 800 or something, 600 ohms of resistance in there. Very noisy. Really, the factory spec for that car was about 4 to 5k of lead resistance, and with a resistor plug as well. So that's what he did, is he changed the leads to get more resistance in the system because he wanted to keep the electrical noise down. So there is an optimum resistance, and what I'm finding is that's about 1 to 3k per lead, somewhere around that area. Now, for conventional ignition system, when you're talking about an injection car, an SPI would have the same sort of ignition power as a 0.8 ohm coil in it that we talk about when we're upgrading. But an injection car might have double that power, so 0.4 ohm coil, so a lot more welly. So therefore, you're going to have a lot more noise. So you need the right resistance in the leads to keep that noise under control. That's what that's all about. Guitar Rich, watching quietly, left my like. Thank you very much. There's 81 people online. What's that all about? Fantastic, everybody. Really appreciate you coming in. We got 60 likes, so 81 people. I'll make that 21 more likes. Come on, hit that button. Give us a like. Thank you very much. Okay. Stefan Mini Cooper. I had a problem today in my Mini. Saw a cloud of burned oil in my mirror. It was there for 10 seconds. Once it had it once before. What could it be? Burning dashboard oil from the breathers? Don't know. Keep an eye on it. Could also be when you went round a corner hard as well. I've seen that before. So just keep an eye on it. Darren's restorations, low resistance HT leads need to run with resistive plugs. Right, yeah. So what he's talking about there is if you've got, let's say, copper core leads with no resistors at all, then you would put a 4 or 5k resistor in the plug. Okay, so you'd use a set of resistor plugs. So that's actually the application that I'm going to investigate for running modern iridium plugs in a conventional ignition system. So we use copper leads, but we have a resistor plug. So therefore, we get obviously some resistance to get the system to work properly. But you have to get these resistances optimum for your application. And if you've got a conventional ignition system with a 3 ohm coil, you don't really want a lot of resistance. So you don't want any resistor in the plug, and you certainly don't want 10k in the leads. Yeah, you want to be sort of 1 to 3 is all you want in the lead. That's the main thing.
Mm.
Anthony Davis, hi both. When cruising at a steady speed and RPM, what AFR should be looking at? I've previously been told between 105 and 115, as that's where fuel economy comes from. Okay. Do you want to answer that, or shall I answer that?
It depends on what you're looking for, realistically, from my point of view. What is the engine? If it's a bog standard 998 with a stage 1 kit on, and you're happy enough with the performance, then realistically, to me, that's too lean.
Yeah. So if you've got a 3-ohm coil and 25,000 plug gaps and a high compression engine, you ain't going to light that off. It's just going to misfire, and your fuel economy is going to go through the floor, right? So one thing to understand is once you go too lean and you can't ignite that lean mix, your fuel economy is worse. Okay, so that's what happens. So the important thing to understand is, to answer that question, I need to know compression ratio, the engine spec, and typically the coil power. All right, so I can understand, to give you the best answer.
Mhm.
All right, there are applications where you can run leaner than stoichiometry. All right, but it really depends on the application as to and what you're doing with it, really. So yeah, if you can give us a bit more information, Anthony, then hopefully I'll be able to give you a better answer.
Mhm.
Mini Tom. Hard question. I have an Innocenti 120L 1275 A series in my Mini. It burns oil on acceleration. Head overhauled. Possible rings. What sort of costs would be best and worst case to fix? Board to 1293 years ago. Okay, so it sounds like it's just washed out. This is what I'm hearing. So what you're after really is the price of a rebuild. Yeah, how long's a piece of string? So Ross should be able to give you a minimum, up to, depending on what modifications you want and how much work. There'll be a range of prices, I would imagine, that you could say your probably least cost is probably here, and then sort of standard rebuild would be about here, and then if you want some mods, it'll be about here. Maybe you can answer it like that, Ross.
Yeah, I think the thing is with it is a massively wide window, and the reason is they snowball. So, for example, as soon as you get that thing apart, we would never build an engine without doing a gearbox. If it's gonna need a gearbox, it's gonna have a clutch and a flywheel put in it. What's your carburetor like? Is it worn? What's your distributor system like? What you got to remember is, if you do the bit in the middle, then you could easily ruin that bit in the middle, which is 9 times out of 10 the most expensive bit, by bolting all your old stuff to it. If it's got a known history and the carburetor was rebuilt fairly recently, the distributor is good, etc., cylinder head is good, then you tend to keep the cost down. The problem is, normally when you've got to the point that it's burning oil, it's already had a life. So therefore, I would assume that you are going to see gearbox wear, clutch wear, carburetor wear, rocker wear.
Valves.
It's going to snowball. It's massive.
Yeah.
It can be anywhere from £3,500, £4,000 to do the bit in the middle, right the way up to £13,500. Again, a lot depends on, is it coming in? Are we doing a limping, drive away, all done? The other thing as well that a lot of people fall foul of is the ancillary bits that go with it. Your alternator, your starter motor, your radiator. If there's no known history of that, why would you put any of those bits back on an engine? All they're going to do is give you unreliability. And realistically, to put a decent radiator on there, a new starter motor and a new alternator, or even reconditioned, is probably going to cost you, let's say, 250 quid. In the greater scheme of things, when you're doing an engine rebuild, not a refresh, that's not a lot of money.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Set pistons will cost you more than that.
Yeah. So it is a massively, it's a question I get asked a lot. How much is my engine rebuild going to cost? Can't tell you.
Yeah.
Not until we've stripped it.
Yeah.
You know, because anything up until that point is a guess.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, it is worth understanding that years ago that you used to be able to buy engines off the shelf, right? Well, they were done and they used a lot of second-hand parts, so they knew what they was getting into. They knew what they was changing. Engines now are not like, because they're so long in the tooth, they've got lots of wear on, and you have to strip them to understand exactly what needs to be done, and that's only at that point can you get an accurate idea of the costs.
Yeah.
And that's why Ross is saying what he's saying, which is absolutely right.
Yeah. You know, just recently we've taken one apart, and you know, as soon as you start to get into it, you take the head off and you look at it and you think it's ball wash. Clearly, it's, you know, it's shiny. It's not good. You pull the flywheel off and realize that the end of the crank is knackered. The flywheel boss is knackered. You then go to the other end and you can't get the crank damper off it because it's been sledged on there or something.
Yeah.
It snowballs unbelievably. No two are the same. Absolutely never ever the same.
Yep. So, you know, unfortunately, you got to get into it to understand how much it's going to cost. And these things aren't cheap. Okay.
No.
So you just, if you're in that situation where you think, oh God, got to go and get a loan and all the rest of it. If you're in that situation, then going to somebody like Ross, right? Because he's not going to waste your money. Yes, it will cost you money, but he's spending it to make sure the job is right and it will last. That's the key. All right. So Ross, if you leave the job with Ross, it'll also make sure the engine's certainly started up, running properly, and all the fueling is correct. So when you pick the car up, it's all good to go. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, so Harvey Drake, thank you guys. Keep up the good work. Okay, no problem. Thanks, Harvey. Peter Holmes, Harvey Drake. He says, just saying to Harvey, AC did a 4-part series on how the SU works. And it was great help when he had his rebuild, when he was doing his rebuild. Yep. Shanks WRC, hi guys again. On the tip-in problem, ACDodd, you were spot on. I just checked the damper, and there's definitely too much play in the damper. I'll probably buy a new one. Thanks a lot. Okay, so you didn't say what it was. If it's an HS4, you've probably got an 8114, and you want to change it for an 8103. Okay, so and that's got about half the movement. So try that and see how that works. All right.
I love that. It's like we've given a little bit of information, and the guy's literally gone, hang on a minute, I'm gonna go and check.
Yeah.
I love that. Fantastic. That's a man after my own heart, that is. Don't write it down and leave it till later.
No, just go out there now. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the essence of live.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And that's why we've got to get the information right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting that information right is important because we help people. That's why I have you on, right? Because you know things, because you run a business and it's a professional, you're in the business of knowing things, right? And helping people out, right? I don't have people on here that don't know things.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm here trying to help people as best we can. And I can't answer all the questions, right? Because I don't build cars. You do. That's why you're here. Yeah. So that's why it's important to have various guests on so that we can help, people. Which is fantastic. I think we just peaked 86 there online, which is fantastic. So awesome. Clearly I need to have you back. Anyway, okay. So Darren Robertshaw, my head is currently off to change the head gasket. I removed a serious amount of carbon deposits. Not sure if you saw the pictures. I did see the pictures. Thanks, Darren, who sent them to me earlier. Just for everybody else who's watching, he sent me a picture of before and after he decoked the chamber. There was great big gobs of carbon in his chamber that have been there for like about 1,000 years, I think. Just terrible. Anyway. Not sure if you saw the pictures. When I put it back together, will the timing that you set need changing? No. But yes, I will agree that the compression ratio is lightly dropped. Okay, but I would imagine that the timing I've set is not really going to change. The only answer to that question is get it on a dyno. Right, the dyno will tell you that. I can't tell you that because a dyno enables you to measure the power and actually optimize that ignition timing. So that's the only way to answer that question. But in reality, the timing I've set before will be absolutely fine. Okay, Neville James, fitting one of your HIF 44 carbs to a Sprite 1275 stage 1 with an MG Metro head. Will it need a needle upgrade? Okay, so potentially, yes. But you need to measure it to see how it's actually fueling. That's the important thing. If you're talking about the carburetor that you buy from Mini Spares, it comes with a BBA needle. It's certainly going to be in the ballpark, but it may need more fueling at the top end, and it may also need a bit more fueling around 3,000 and 4,000 RPM around the torque bulge. But you need to measure it. That's the only way to understand the actual changes.
I think the other thing is with that as well is if that's a Sprite 1275, it's likely to need a dizzy recurve.
Yeah. So if it's a 1275 late mini Sprite with an 850 type camshaft, it's got that very long advance curve in the distributor. So as Ross says, it will definitely benefit from having a recurved advance in the dizzy. Okay, so Vicky Whittle, hi AC. I have an HS4 single carb on my 1275 Mini. It runs good according to the AFR gauge. Already liking that. We got a young lady here with an AFR gauge in her car. What's going on? Fantastic. Yeah, but idle mix is way too rich with the mixture screw on its leanest. I suspect the jet needs a service. You're absolutely right. Carb's worn out. Yes, the carb jet is worn, but if the carb jet's worn, the rest of it's worn. All right. So, by the time the jet wears, the carb itself will be very worn. So my advice to you is just, stop messing about with that carb, have the carb rebuilt. The other thing is it's probably fueling okay on the gauge because it's running rich at idle, okay, which is not correct. All right. So that's actually not helping the engine, especially when you're sat in traffic and things like that. It's actually wearing the engine out prematurely. So get the carb rebuilt, get it tuned properly so it's right at idle and all the way across the rev range. Because you've got an AFR gauge in there, we can also do the full power fueling as well and make that run real strong and clean is the most important thing. Joseph Stock, can we send you carbs to be zero tolerance calibrated? Yes, you can. So send me a message on Messenger to discuss your requirements, and I shall see what I can do.
I think the other thing to mention there to Vicky there as well is what is the spec of that 1275? Because if it's a 1275 sort of MG Metro engine, something like that, if you're going to replace the carburetor,
bigger one,
yeah. HIF 44.
Agreed.
Yeah. Don't waste your money on another HS4. If it's a 1275 Sprite engine and you're not looking to do any more to it, HIF 38 HS4 is probably okay, but it doesn't give you any scope for the future. So again, like I was saying just now, sort of future proofing. If you're going to do any mods to that in the future, start with HIF 44.
Yes. I don't know if you saw a video, I think it was one of the ones at the Isle of Wight. One of the cars I had there, I had to try every trick in the book to get enough fuel out of the HS4 to feed the 1275 it was bolted to. Because I just couldn't get, I had to put 60 weight oil in the dashpot to get enough fuel and acceleration. It was an absolute beast demanding fuel. It's breathing very well, but that 90,000 jet was just struggling to get enough fuel into that engine through all conditions. And that's, yes, you can do other tricks like put a larger jet in and things like that. But really what that's telling you is bigger carb.
Yeah.
When you got to start messing about with changing jets on certain, it's like bigger carb.
Yeah,
that's what it's there for. Yeah. Okay. So Rich Holder, Hi AC Ross, thanks for Q&A as always. My 998 stage 1 has 165 to 175 psi compression across all 4 cylinders. Okay, is this an answer to the question earlier about I think I was having a conversation earlier today about compression with somebody. So if this is the same guy, then I need to take this conversation offline because I can't remember. I need to be reminded. I have so many conversations. But if that's that compression problem we was talking about earlier, then thanks for getting back to me with those figures. Okay. What's he saying here? Rich holding, but only about 1 inch of vacuum at idle. Gasket's all good. Could it be such a huge? Okay, no. So where are you picking the vacuum reading from? If you're doing it from the vacuum advance nipple on the carburetor, if it's the wrong side of the butterfly, you won't get any reading at idle. All right, or what you'll get a very low reading, like you're saying. So vacuum. If you're trying to get a vacuum reading at idle, you need that from the manifold side. All right, so you need a nipple that's on the manifold side, not the back side of the butterfly, which is what I think you're doing there. Only one thing it could be, but it seems a huge leak from the spindle bushes. Very common. Yeah. So you might find that you have an air leak, a worn carb. Okay. Vaping Spider. Hi guys, I have a bit of a problem. I have a 1098 Mayfair automatic, runs and drives like a dream forwards, but clunky and judders in reverse. I was thinking of drive shaft bearings. Have you guys any ideas? I'm backing out of this one because I don't know anything about autos.
I know a little bit about autos. That sounds bad.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think you're gonna get any benefit from looking elsewhere in the drivetrain. I think you'll find that's something to do with the internals of the automatic. First thing I would suggest is give it a good flush and an oil change. Perhaps put some 10W40 through it first of all, run it through, get it warm, oil and filter change with some JSO MA2 spec. Generally term it as motorbike oil, 10W40 motorbike oil, 4-stroke motorbike oil. Give it a whirl, but I think that sounds fairly bad.
Yeah. Usually any experience with an auto transmission, if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do or does strange things in forward or reverse, it's the transmission. It's not anything else.
Yeah.
Joe Mason, any more of your zero tolerance rockers coming? I just haven't had a chance. So no, not at the moment. There's not enough hours in the day. That's my problem. Sorry about that, but I will make some more when I can. All right. So I can't tell you when that's going to be, unfortunately. So apologies about that. If you need rockers, go and see Keith. He'll sell you a set of his 1.3s. They're very good. So yeah, if you're looking for the A plus sintered rocker version, then unfortunately I can't do any at the moment because I'm just too busy. Sorry about that. A Series engine, what's the secret to stopping the Selector shaft sleeve from leaking? Cheers. So I'll let Ross say that one first, and then I'll add my experience from many years before.
Does it have, first of all, the aluminium or the nylon bush in behind the seal? Is the first question I would ask. If it doesn't, then fit that for starters, along with a decent seal. The other thing is that I've seen quite a few of now, they're getting older, is the actual selector spigot that slides in and out of the gearbox will wear away at the casing. So when we do a gearbox rebuild, it's one of the things that we pay particular attention to now, as in how much wear is in that casing, in that selector seal area. But the first thing to check is to see if it's got the aluminium bush, or some of them were nylon. If not, they are available as a kit. So fit the kit. If you do fit the kit, I tend not to fit the little rubber gator, because all I find they do is just get hold of the dirt and muck and everything else and just hold it in there, which then exacerbates the problem that we were just saying about. Things slide back and forth with muck and grit and everything in there. Not good.
So the only thing I can add to that is back in the day when gearboxes were plentiful. If somebody wanted an oil leak, a leak free one, I'd go through 20 cases looking for a tight fit. Yeah. And then go through 20 sets of selectors and look for the best fit, and then put those two together, come up with the tightest fit. Now I did one once on an MPI. This thing was leak free for many thousands of miles, right? Because all the parts were very, very snugly fitting. All right. If you can get that scenario and you use that aluminium support bush and a new seal, it will be good. All right. The problem is all the components were made badly in the first place, which meant that you had to selectively assemble them to get the best fits. Or if you want to engineer it right, you've got to make stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it becomes very expensive, right? Especially if you've got to pay somebody, hundreds and hundreds of pounds in hours trying to bore out your case and then sleeve it back and all this sort of business, right?
Yeah.
It becomes horrendously expensive. So the only way to do it really is to surround yourself with many gearboxes and find the best fitting components. The tightest fits will give the leakest free operation. Vicky Whittle, you guys should come to South Africa. Would make a killing tuning thousands of minis that all run rough. I didn't know you had thousands of minis in South Africa. That's fantastic. Maybe we should.
Or maybe find somebody out there that can do AC's remote tuning training.
Yeah, absolutely. And get somebody trained out there that can do it, because we can absolutely train somebody out there. No problem at all. Okay, Joe Mason. Also going to a 0.8 ohm coil for power spark kit. Are you really going to see noticeable difference if the spark is strong anyway? So you won't notice the difference at full power. Where you notice the difference is part throttle and drivability. That's where you notice. And also, you can run a leaner mixture with the same power, right? This is where it really comes into its own. So, people don't understand this thing about ignition power. Ignition power enables you to run a leaner mixture, right? And get more energy out of that leaner fuel, all right? It's all about efficiency. That's what it does, okay? You will notice that if you're a tuner and you want to run a leaner mix and you want to get good fuel economy figures. Trust me, on my economy board, I've got people up there with 1275s doing 58 to the gallon. That doesn't happen with a 3 ohm coil. Just saying. Okay, Keith of the Shire, AC, what's the diameter of your wideband tailpipe adapter setup? It looks small. It's designed to go up. It's a 27 mil pipe outside diameter, and it goes up a standard mini exhaust. That's what it was designed for. All right. And it doesn't need to be big because it's not used at full power. It's only used at part throttle running. So not an issue. Matt Steele, question for Ross, if possible. If using a cellulose-based paint for a respray, what grit paper would you finish the top coat with before buffing and waxing? Any recommendations for polish/wax?
Without sounding well, I'm not going to say that. How good is your finish to start with? I suppose is the biggest question.
Okay.
I haven't used cellulose paint for many years. I've never used cellulose paint in this business anyway. The key is with cellulose is lots of it, and then take lots of it off if your finish is not great. So I've seen people before using sort of a drop coat over the top of cellulose, or a very thin as heavy last coat, which tends to settle things out. But I would say from that point of view, start at the finest and see how you go. So I would probably go with 2000 grit, something like that, and see what it does, and then cut it up with your compounds and everything else. You're not going to just cut it back and then buff it. You're going to have to work at it. It all depends on what you're after, realistically. If you can get reasonable finish from the gun with cellulose paint. Thing I always used to like seeing cellulose is on the right cars. So if it's an early car, they always add that sort of slight orange peely effect to them anyway. If you want a very flat finish, realistically, it's 2K, paint anyway, which gives that flat finish generally from the gun. But I would try a small area with 2000 grit, knock it all off, wet. That's the other thing. Wet sand, 2000, bit of soapy water, go proper old school on it. Bit of washing up liquid in a bucket and a bit of 2000 grit sandpaper. Knock it all off, knock all the high spots off, very even right the way across, and then buff it up then with a cut-in compound, see what it comes up like. If it hasn't made that much of a difference, then you could probably say I'll go slightly harder, with the grit, and then you're going to have to come back up again. Once you've gone back, you're going to have to come back up. So if you hit it then with, say, a 1500, something like that, you're going to need to hit it with a 2000 afterwards, and then you're going to need to buff it. A lot of work involved, but it all really depends on what you're after, and how much work you want to put into it. But you can't, well, you can, because obviously you can paint it again. I was going to say, if you take it off, you can't put it back on. But you can, but it's going to be a lot of work then, all joking aside.
Yeah.
I would go with 2000, wet sand, buff it up, see what it comes up like.
Thanks very much. And that's exactly why Ross is here, because I wouldn't have a bloody clue. So thanks, Ross. Okay, some bloke comes on. Yeah, he's talking about dampers, right? And he's contacted Berlin, and he's realised that Berlin don't know what their dampers do, and they won't. And that's because they just make them to the drawings, and then they put those specification dampers in the appropriate carburetors and sell them on. So he's just asking there if it's possible we can do a video on what they all do. Well, I'll have to see if that's even doable. But my point is, the reason why I haven't done that is because it's irrelevant. Because I just modify my damper to do what I need. All right. So if I know that there is a damper that's very stiff, for example, then that damper can do every application that I need by modification. And I can do that with a file in the field. So it is kind of irrelevant. But I understand from the point of view of a user, it might be useful to have a chart, for example, and you can say it's this part number for that and all the rest of it. So leave it with me, and I'll see if they're up for letting me try one of every of their part numbers. and just see what they do. Because otherwise, if they want to charge me for that, that might be a lot of money. All right, for parts. So I'll sound them out. Because therefore, if I make a chart, they might be able to use that, for their business. So they might want to investigate. So leave it with me, and I'll see what I can do. But I can't promise that one, but I'll certainly ask. John Edge, I have a Morris Minor 1098 as a HS2 which needs a rebuild. Would you upgrade to an HS4? Yes. Done. Move on. I would never fit an HS2 to any Morris Minor with a 1098 in it, because it's not enough carburetor.
It's not big enough. No,
it's not big enough. And Ross knows what I mean, because he's done my training, so he knows that an HS2 carb will have problems trying to fuel that engine, even in standard form. So you need an HS4 really to get the best out of the engine. It's a no-brainer. Do it. Okay, Eduardo, do you use a timing light gun for distributor timing? Yes. So if you've watched any of my videos, one of the things you'll see is a timing light, which I use. But yes, I use a timing light to set timing, and that's because you can't just set timing by just going for a figure. You need to understand the advance curve length, and then you can decide what best timing that engine needs. Or you can therefore change the distributor for a different advance curve to get the best out of it. So yes, the timing light is absolutely mandatory for tuning an engine. John Edge, also, would you upgrade the 25D to a 45D? Yes. 25D equals worst distributor to have in it. They're so slack and wobbly, and timing's all over the place, and vacuum. It's just terrible, right? They're a horrible distributor. They were okay in their time because you didn't really need a lot of accuracy. But if you're trying to get performance and repeatability and all the rest of it, 45D is the way forward for you. Absolutely. And is it worth getting it recurved? What do you say?
100%.
Simple.
And fit the high power version.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're going to do it, just fit the high power anyway.
Yeah.
The only caveat to that is if you've got positive earth, then you won't be able to fit the high power because they don't make one. But the point is, always fit the highest power system that you can to get the best out of whatever you've got under the bonnet. That's the most important thing. Neville James, going to fit a 64D. See, where do people get this idea of a 64D Dizzy? I was only fitted with a 65D. All right, so 64D, not sure where that come from, but 65D. If I get a manual out, right, and I have a look through a manual at the the information, let's just turn to that page, right? And what does it say under distributor? It says make type. What does it say there? Lucas, yeah, 65D, right? Not 64. There are no 64D Dizzies fitted to Minis or Metros, all right, ever. 65. All right. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah.
So 65D Dizzy and AFR gauge, right? When I fit HO44. Thanks for the advice. Yeah. So Neville, you're doing the right thing. Fit the AFR gauge, get your HO44 and fit your 65D. The only thing about fitting a 65D is the advanced curve could be anything, right? So make sure it's the right curve, all right? Don't just buy one off the shelf because it could be wrong and you'll have to have it recurved or buy another one. So just do your own work. So my distributors can be purchased when you have me to tune. Now, that might not be possible if you're in a different country, but there are other people that can supply. So you can also go to any of my trained tuners. People like Ross have my distributors on the shelf. If he's got a spare one, he'll help you out. Okay.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm so hard pressed with distributors that I can't supply currently. I'm only supplying my traders and my customers that I do for on the road tuning. That doesn't mean to say I couldn't sort you one out over Christmas, January sometime. So do your own work. Make sure you get the right advance curve. All right. And obviously use your AFR gauge properly and you're on the right path. So well done. Vicky Whittle, to answer the question, I'm in South Africa, so I've got a 12H engine, ported head with hardened valve seats, 60 thou oversized pistons. SU carbs are hard to come by, but many people swap to Webers. They do, yeah, I understand that. SU carbs, we're spoiled in this country. People trip over them. I mean, I've got bits of SUs. This is just. Hang on. Right. You're going to laugh now, but I can just keep going. Right. So this is me going under my bench, right, where I sit. And I've got another 10. Right.
Yeah.
So this
is where we are very blessed in this country.
We are.
We are very, very fortunate. But I think this is the lady with the HS4 on that engine.
Yes.
So it's no wonder that thing is rich at idle because that's probably pulling hard through that jet.
Yes, absolutely. You got a ported head with that little carb on there. So in reality, I think you need to save some pennies and see if you can get yourself a replacement, HS6 or an HI44. Now, obviously, I don't know your financial situation, but new ones are available, but they're very expensive. So, but I would, if you're going to do any kind of carburetor rebuild, build a bigger one, right? That's the advice. You need a bigger carb. So HS6 or an HI44, all right, is the way forward. Some bloke. Vicky has as a wideband. Well done, girl. You put the blokes to shame. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah. A series engine, CSI or 123 Dizzy for a tune 1330. Whichever has the highest will fire the highest power coil. There's a reason why I use Power Spark, because I can put a 0.8 ohm coil on it. Yeah. However, a 123 tune is an awesome piece of kit. I love them because I can map them and map the vacuum and do all sorts of things. But I can only run a 1.2 ohm coil or whatever the minimum is. So, you know, horses for courses. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Vicky Whittles go. Vicky is a guy.
Apologies.
Yeah, apologies. Thanks, Vicky, for that. But yes, I have a wideband installed. You know, good on you. Yeah, absolutely. This is the way to do it. And you know, you're in a country where there isn't the knowledge with these carbs, so you're doing the right thing. Get a wideband in there so you can understand what the fueling is, and you can dial the thing in yourself. Absolutely. We also we offer remote tuning, by the way. So you know, you can contact myself or Darren in the United States, and we do a sort of an hourly charge, and we'll sit here and we'll talk you through tuning your own car if that's something you're interested in. But we'll take that offline. So send me a messenger, Facebook Messenger chat request, and we can have a chat about that if you're interested. Okay, Rich Holder, thanks AC. 1 inch vacuum is from the HS4 vacuum takeoff manifold side. Seems ridiculously low. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. There's if it's on the manifold side of the butterfly, that ain't right. Something's wrong there. Yeah. So either your gauge is not right, or you've got a massive leak, you know. But if you had that leak, it'll be revving. Yeah. So something's not right with those figures. Yeah, I've measured up to 6 psi fuel pressure and black plugs at idle. Right. So could too much fuel pressure cause low vacuum? No, but it'll cause black plugs, that's for sure, with flooding carbs. So yeah, you got HS4 carb, you need 1.5, so get that down. Right. So you got a number of problems.
What fuel pump is that running out of interest? Because I mean, you might not necessarily have to change the fuel pump, but you need to get a regulator fitted.
Yeah, agreed. It's a regulator that you need to bring that down. Vaping Spider says, thanks guys, looks like a rebuild. I think that's the one who's talking about the engine earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Sadly, yes. Darren Roberts, sure. Cheers, AC. Thanks for checking the pictures beforehand. Much appreciated. Well, thank you for sending them to me, so at least I was informed. One for you, Ross. I have a paying BK450 to refit the head. Any thoughts on my chance of success?
You'll be absolutely fine. Yeah.
Do you recommend he uses the sealant?
Not on a BK450, you can't.
Okay.
The sealant won't stick to the already wiped on sort of coating that's on there.
Okay.
So no sealant. BK450, if you're going to use it, you have to adhere to the heat cycle with no coolant on the first startup. So don't put coolant straight in it. So heat cycle it first of all. Get the cylinder head hot to touch at number 4. So not like scalding hot, but hot enough that you don't really want to hold your hand on it. Then allow it to cool, retorque the cylinder head, recheck your tappets, and then leave it overnight. Then put your coolant in and do the same thing again with coolant in it. Retorque it, redo your tappets, then run it up. But BK450 is a good gasket. They have gone through real fits and starts of quality, but we've had no issues, you know, adhering to that heat cycle.
Okay, so Vaping Spider's just come back. I think this is the auto transmission. So just to clarify, the judder is in the passenger side wheel.
Yeah, you'll get that because of the diff operation. So if there's anything in the gearbox moving and not doing what it should, you're gonna feel that anyway. I don't think the the fact that you are seeing it on a passenger side wheel means anything at all. I think that's internal.
Okay, so Matt Steele's come back. Please say it, ha ha ha. Celly is easier to use, cellulose paint. Yeah. So he's
Right.
talking about the paint. Yeah. Lots of no peel, just a few line scratches.
Nah,
That's what he's
you'll
put
be
down.
fine. You can probably afford to hit that a little bit harder, in all honesty. So if there's no peel in it and it's relatively flat and you're just looking to get a few marks out of it, you know, you could probably go down as far as, if you really want to hit it hard, you could probably just give it a slight rub with sort of 800 or something like that, and then work your way back up.
Darren's just come back with any updates to the economy board. Well, there is one update since last time, and that is Darren Robert Shaw's got his mini Sprite in position number 5. So he's now got a 1275 standard Sprite that was tuned by me, and he got 55.4 to the gallon. This was after he fitted his fuel pressure regulator. Just saying. Yeah, so 55.4 is not bad. And that was, you know, he was doing, you know, Yorkshire up and down the hills and just taking it gently and cruising and, you know, mixed use, but cruising. Yeah, long way. So, yeah, he did very well on that. So that was a car I tuned, but that was a 1275. So currently there's 6 people on the economy board. So in 6th position, I'll read them out as the charts, right? In 6th position, it's Darren with his red mini saloon with his 998 low compression, quite worn engine. And he's at 54 miles to the gallon imperial. Obviously, the mini Sprite we talked about at 55.4 in number 5. Number 4, we've got a Clubman Estate, which I tuned up in a show earlier in the year. The guy had a wideband in his car, and we got 57.4. Now, this is an engine that's 90 to 95 horsepower, so it's got a well-ported head on it. It's got 1.5 rockers and an MG cam. So she's, as you can imagine, Ross, it's quite lively when you open the throttle. He had a new carb and one of my dizzies fitted, and he got 57.4 to the gallon, which he was quite frankly staggered with.
Yeah.
Right. And then we got in 3rd position, we got an Austin Metro, and that did 58 miles to the gallon. After a tune-up. This is a 1293 engine with a 266 cam and a standard head, but fitted with a 59D Power Spark high power ignition, and a 3.1 final drive. All right, so you know, for a Metro, and that was he did 2,000 miles over Europe, and that was his best fuel economy on one of the runs, 58 to the gallon. So yeah, very good. And then number 2. Darren gets that one because he tuned a mini Mayfair. So this is a 10-inch wheeled Mayfair with a 2.9 diff, you know, the economy type one.
Yeah.
Right, so high gearing, and he got 60 miles to the gallon on a run in the States, which is, you know, right up there. Yeah, very, very good. And then unfortunately he gets beaten by me with Gary Pearson's Mark 1 850. Which is a standard low compression 850 engine, 8.5 to 1 compression with a 3.76 final drive. And she did 63 miles to the gallon on a run. And that wasn't his best. So he actually, on one run, he did 67. All right. So you know, that had a new ACDodd carb and all set up by me. But yeah, she's sniffing the juice on that one. So the reason why it hasn't changed is because that's hard to beat. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is not something that you go out and go, oh, I can beat that. Yeah, go ahead and try. Right.
Yeah.
It took a long time for Darren Robert Shaw with his Sprite to get on the board, right? Because he's like, oh, I've got 50 or I've got 48, and it's like, no, come on, you need a bit more, and he's got it to 55 by following the mantra, right?
Yeah.
So you know, fit the regulator and all the rest of it. So now he's got he's bought himself a brand new ACDodd zero tolerance carb. And you know, once he gets all that dialed in, he's got his cylinder head that he's talked about. He's having a decoke, so you know, he's on the way to getting some serious economy. But these things take time, and that's difficult to beat those figures because you need to drive properly. It's got to have the right weather, the right roads, you know, layout, and also the car needs to be in fine fettle. You know, you ain't going to get that if it's 2 years after a tune.
Yeah.
2 months after a tune, yeah, that's when you're going to get these figures. All right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, Darren, that's a good update for you. But I've only got 6 on the board. But this is open to anybody, any one of my customers or any of my tuner network. Yeah. So if Ross's customers get, does a good economy run, then it will go on the board, right? But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't get on the board unless you're over 50 to the gallon.
No.
So, right. Okay. Matt Steele. He's talking about the grit for his paintwork. Started 800, then 1200, then 1500, 2000. Now on to 3000. I'm currently stood with a sanding block and a sprayer on the bench, listening to this.
Right. Okay. There you go then. Yeah. So you did.
Yeah,
You started a bit harder. So you're doing exactly the right thing there, mate. Yeah.
yeah.
Hit it hard and stagger it up. Lovely.
He said, thanks for the advice. Okay, so Vicky, back to Vicky Whittle. How can I access the carb tuning course? No one here really tunes SUs other than turning the mixture screw. Oh, screw turners.
Swear word.
Yeah. So, well done for realising that screw turning is not how you do it. So, the best thing to do, Vicky, is send me a Facebook Messenger request chat. Chat, and then we'll have a chat about what you want to do and how we can help you out. All right. Okay, John Edge. Thanks, AC. Neville. James. My mistake. 65D got it wrong. Yeah. Sorry about that. A lot of people go on forums 64D. It's like, what is a 64? Please show me one. Yeah. So what else we got there? Yeah, Eduardo, I learned so much today. Well, thank you very much. Someone's put some money in my bin as well. I've got $2.69. So I'm not sure who's done that, but thank you very much. Okay. So I'm glad you learned something, Eduardo. That's why we're here. John Edge, one more question. When I get an HS4, does it matter about the codes, or would there be a best type model to fit? When you get an HS4, right, there's the part number. Now, I appreciate it. If you're not going to buy a new one, then I do second-hand ones that have been rebuilt, all right?
Yeah.
And they're a lot cheaper. So my suggestion is, if you need a carburetor, then just contact me and I'll see if I can sort you out a rebuilt one. But I do need an exchange if you've got a used one that you want rebuilt. Okay. UKS assistant, what are the best HT leads? Okay, so I fit the Power Spark standard lead set. They're absolutely fine for just about most road applications. All right. I don't think Ross will say anything else unless you've got any better ideas.
No, that's all we use now. All joking aside, we don't use anything else. We've actually found out fairly recently that they also do them for the MPI. So we've started using them in the MPI now to good success.
Ah, excellent. All right. Well, that's news on me because I obviously never get to play with MPIs. So that's very interesting. All right. So well done. Yeah. So Power Spark for leads. Okay. Yeah. Back to the noughties has given me £2. So thank you very much. Carl Robertson. Evening, lads. All right. Evening, Carl.
Evening, Carl.
Vicky Whittle. It's all good. It's my nickname. Full name is Victor. Well done. All right. So in the UK, we would class that as a female name, Vicky, but Victor, definitely not.
Vicky sounds friendlier and not like a Russian bad guy. Love it.
Yeah, Victor. I see what you mean. Vicky Whittle, another question. Would I get better running on twin HS2 setup compared to a single HS4? Yeah, but your engine needs bigger carbs. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
twin HS4s.
yeah. Yeah. So, stop thinking about small carbs. If you want it simple, and I suggest you kind of do in South Africa, because if there's not a lot of places you can go and you need to maintain yourself, one carb, just a bigger one. All right.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
lot cheaper, because if you're going to have, you can't just fit twin HS2s on unless they're rebuilt, and that's going to cost you a fortune to have them properly rebuilt. So I don't mean just, throw a kit in. I mean properly machined and set up, and dampers matched and all the rest of it. Right.
Mhm.
Get a single carb, a bigger one, and that's the best way to go, I believe, for where you are. Okay, so Darren Robert Shaw, when you say no coolant, you mean just water? No,
No,
he means no coolant, nothing,
no, no
right?
coolant, no water, nothing. So first start up with the new head gasket after it's all torqued and all fitted. Obviously, you need oil in it, so don't make that mistake. But yeah, oil and filter change, and then run it up with no cooling system fill at all.
There you go. So, and it only takes about 2 minutes of running before it
Yeah,
gets to that point.
3 minutes at the
Yeah,
most. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so Rich Holder, yeah. So he's just come back with a mechanical pump, right? Giving 6 psi. Yes, I've seen this. You need a regulator. Okay, so you need to regulate that down.
Non-genuine one.
It's the MS one. Okay, right. Thanks for spotting that. Right. So fit a genuine pump, but also if you're using a mechanical, fit a regulator. Okay. You must fit a regulator and set the pressure according to the carburetor that you're using with it. All right, and then you'll be fine. You should trip down to Johannesburg and Pretoria. Many owners, and some part imported at hefty prices, but some good engine rebuilders and big race scene in Port Elizabeth. Oh, excellent! Sounds like there's quite a scene down there, which is really good. I never even considered South Africa as somewhere it was into minis, but we're being educated. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
How come some SUs are stamped the Leyland logo on the elbow? And that's because SU was part of that company for a while. All right. So parts, and some of those parts weren't SU parts. They were parts that were destined for, Leyland vehicles. All right. So the elbows, I mean, I don't even know if it's possible you can buy an elbow now from Berlin. I'll have to go and find that out. But I think they were made for the carburetor rather than the carburetor, being supplied with it from the factory. I'm not sure about that, but the point is that's why you would have different logos on these things, because some of these old carburetors were made in the days where SU was part of that organisation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, UKS assistant. Perfect. I was looking at the Power Spark or the AccuSpark, but I'll get on and order the Power Spark ones now. Yeah. As I say, I haven't had a problem with Power Spark. It all works good for me. Right. I've currently got an HI 44 on my 998 Mini and another one on my 1275. That's a big carb for a 998, but it can be made to work. So I've had success with them. Carl Robertson. Haha. Carl is my Sunday name. It's Bob. Yeah. Okay. All right, Bob. We knew it was you. I was just using the name you put on the screen. The Mad Scotsman. Yeah. Bob is a legend. Is a better way to say it. So, and it's really good to see you on here, Bob. So, nice. Okay. So thank you for coming online and saying hi. It is really appreciated. We're actually coming up to 2 hours now, believe it or not. We haven't stopped, have we?
Blimey, no.
Fantastic. It's been really good tonight,
Yeah.
which is great. And I still haven't got to the end of the questions. So
No, they keep coming in.
They do, yeah. Never got around to getting Robert to redo my needles, slap wrists all round. Yeah, you need to sort that out. It's running a bit rich now, so sort that out because it's not doing the engine any good. All right. So if you can get into sorting some needles out, that will make that better. Rachel, thanks both. Got to go to my bed now as recovering from painful tonsillectomy. But thank you always for all the info. Take care. No problem at all, Rachel.
Cheers, Rachel. Take care.
Darren Robert Shaw, awesome, Ross. I'd read this before, but I thought it was a mistake. Thanks for confirming. No mistake, no water. All right.
Yeah.
Darren's restoration. Time for Ross and AC to go on an African tour and tune them all. Maybe. Vicky Whittle was given a HF 44 by my mate, but the piston was worn. The bush was missing, the ball bearings and the manifold mount was snapped. Yeah, okay, and glued. Tried to get parts, but near impossible local. Yeah, appreciate that. So, you know, as I say, I'm not sure your financial situation, but you might find yourself in a position where it's better just to buy new. All right.
Yeah.
That's why I've made these carbs available, and obviously I do the HIF 44 version as well, which is the first one I brought to the market. Harvey Drake, hi ACDodd. I've noticed with the Cooper Twin HS2s they don't have a vacuum nipple on the carb for the Advance, and also the fuel pipe only has one port on each of the top of the float housing. Yeah, because a Cooper doesn't have vacuum Advance. So it doesn't mean to say they can't be fitted. So they can be retrofitted into the carburetors. But, you know, my advice to you is you've probably got the wrong carbs, right? So why not fit a set from a different engine like a Cooper 998, for example, which would definitely have the vacuum nipple on, all right? Not necessarily from an S. Harvey Drake, would the nipple need to be installed on a 1275 Fast Road Mini, which is an 80s car with an electronic ignition? If it's driven on the road, yes. You'll always be better off with vacuum on a road car. All right. Stig 228, I've recently fitted one of your rebuilt HI 44s and brilliant, thanks. Excellent. You haven't said whether it's been tuned or not, but it'll be even better if it's tuned. But if I have tuned it at a show or something, then I appreciate you coming on and telling me that. So thank you very much, and thanks for purchasing it. Okay, I don't know how far down we are. Oh no, we're not too far from the end.
No.
So I think we need to start wrapping it up soon. I just want to get to the end. So what I will say is, don't put any more questions down now. So we just finished the ones off on the screen, and I'm going to have to go. And obviously, I'll need to let Ross go because he needs to go home because he's still in the workplace. I'm in my home workshop, so it's easy for me. But Ross needs to go home. So okay, Jamie Holder. Hello, gents. Thinking future mods. What camshafts would you recommend? Wanting something low down torque, but still want good pull. Don't really drive the car past 4,000 RPM. Oh, I think I know which cam this is going to be. What you don't say is what engine have you got there? So if you could quickly come back with what size engine, that would be very helpful there, Jamie. Yeah, some bloke, more likes, lads. We want these two to earn. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Vicky Whittle, drop down to Alan Wyatt Brink in Pretoria, masters at mini engine rebuilds, and a Super Cooper race car that needs a rebuild again, and a beast of a clubman in PE. Okay. Excellent. So yeah, there's clearly there's a whole mini thing going on over there that I didn't even realise. So,
yeah, I hadn't realised that.
Yeah. Blaze Runner 88. I see an ACDodd and Ross Thomas Tuning World Tour coming. I do know there is one person that's done my training that's going on a tour, and that's TK Robinson. He's going to be doing touring. A little bit of touring around New Zealand. I think he's going from where he is in Christchurch up to the North Island as well. So they're going to be doing that. I think it's in February. I think so. You know, fairly soon, and that's all kicked off because he's done the training. So that's a right success story. What's happened down there? So one of the things I'm going to do in the future is get TK on here, and I think it's going to be in a couple of months. So something for you guys to look out for. Okay, so Guitar Rich, night guys. Thanks for your time. Catch you soon. Excellent. Vicky Whittle, my financial situation is as good as the church mouse, but we make do with what we can. All right, and I get that. All right, so I think what you need to do is to keep your ear to the ground and look out for an HS6 or an HIF 44 carburetor, and then obviously look to rebuild it. All right. You got to do the best you can with what you got, as they say.
Yeah.
So if you're that desperate and you've got two HS4s that are the same, then perhaps you can make yourself a pair of twins. All right. And if you need some help with that, then I can talk you through what you might need if you want to do that. But if that's the only option to you, then two HS4s is better than one.
Yeah. two decently built HS4s,
yeah.
that is.
All right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Never fit twins that are worn out. That's just pointless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Always better off with a single. But two properly rebuilt HS4s would work very well on your application. Harvey Drake, thank you. I looked up the tags, which is stating it's a Mark 1 Cooper from 62, 64 on SU website. That's interesting. Okay, the point is a vacuum nipple is better. And yes, they can be retrofitted. All right. So I can do that modification. It's not that cheap because I've got to spend probably an hour and a half setting it all up in the machine and all the rest of it. Right. So, yes, it can be done. Better if you've got a carb that's actually got that in, because you don't need that extra expense. Stig 228. It will be tuned in November. He's obviously going to ML Motorsport. No problem. See you then, Stig. Vicky Whittle, thank you, lads. We'll DM you tomorrow if I remember. No problem at all. Look forward to it. Stefan Mini Cooper, thanks for the video, guys. Have a good night and see you on the next one. Darren's Restorations. Ross, have you had to do tuning on your boat?
I have to, but it can only be done in the water in gear. Needs to be done under load. Done a little bit of research into that, so I'm tooled up, ready to go.
Oh, is it a wideband perchance?
Well, apparently a lot of it is done on vacuum because obviously you can't get any exhaust reading out of it.
That's interesting.
But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how we go.
All right.
But what I will be doing is lots of plug reading.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, well, that's the only thing you got. Yeah, that you can do. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That'll be. That'll make a good video.
Yeah.
So
I'm not branching out.
Yeah. That's the problem with YouTube. If you do that, you'll only get boat tuning. But yeah, that's really good. But it's nice that you got the engine running, which is fantastic. We've all seen a little video clip, so well done.
Yeah.
Okay. And Darren comes back again. Thanks, guys, for the live stream. No problem at all. We're going to wind this up now. So please, no more questions. All right. Jamie Holden, 998 HS4. Now, this is the guy talking about
the camshaft.
The camshaft, yeah. So you only want my RT cam or an SW5. That's it. No more cam than that. Right. Very mild. Simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Great. Yeah. So Amid's lad, great Q&A as ever. Thanks, AC and Ross. No problem at all. Okay. What else we got here? Yeah, so people are saying night all now. Okay, no problem. Blaze Runner, thank you, AC and Ross. Brilliant live stream as always. And thank you, AC, when I showed you my spark plugs. Recently found my ignition coil was 0.7 and not 0.8. Running much better now. Okay, no problem at all. So I will wrap up now. Everyone's saying goodbye, but I've got to end it now because we're well over 2 hours, which is fantastic, by the way. We've had a massive response this evening. We've also had hardly any spam. I think there was the briefest of small spam, and I think Darren has been working wonders in the background. Gently getting rid of people. So thanks for that, Darren. If you've done some work in the background, which is great. But I can only thank Ross, highly for coming on here and agreeing to do this, because this helps the community. Also, clearly, it helps us and it helps his business as well. So, it's a good thing all round, really.
Yeah.
So I will look to obviously do this again next month. I believe next month it's back to Darren from Colorado. And then in the future, I'm going to try and get TK from New Zealand, which will be a time zone nightmare, but we can make it work. So we've got to think about that one. But to everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. And thanks again to Ross. And I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. See you soon.